Hey, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. This is a great crowd. It's a really good crowd. Just out of curiosity, was anybody here 10 years ago when we showed Birdemic 2?
Yeah.
No, Keith is a regular here. Anybody else? Have you? What's amazing is that James is back here 10 years after we showed the sequel with Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle. I cannot wait to talk to him after the film to find out why it took a full decade to get another film. I want to hear what he's been up to, and I want to hear his reactions to Philadelphia. He's been walking around all day, so that'll be fun. So please stick around for the Q&A after the film. But for now, I'm very honored to have the creator of the Birdemic franchise, James Nguyen, in attendance. He's going to intro the film tonight. James, everybody.
Hello, Philadelphia! Hello, Philadelphia Eagle! Even though I'm from San Francisco and the Niner and the Eagle's going to be in the Super Bowl. Are you ready for Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle? Are you sure? How many beer have you drank?
One, not enough.
What have you smoked? Yeah, it's great to be here in Philadelphia, and it's good. You feel very patriotic when you visit here. You know, this is my second time in Philadelphia, and it's always been feeling very patriotic. I really like the city itself. I did the tour this morning, well, Birdemic 3 Sea Eagle, the story is a flock of sea eagle attacked Santa Cruz, California. And why did the bird attack and who survived? And it's got a great storyline. This is the third film of the trilogy, and this is my favorite of the three. It's got the best music of the three, as you will hear. And I get lucky with the casting like the first one. But I think most important that it's a much more serious film. It addresses the issue of climate change, climate emergency, global warming in a serious way, and I think that's the main reason why I decided to make the third one. So I hope you like it, and please stay for Q&A, and happy Birdemic 3!
Hey folks, thanks so much for sticking around. Let's welcome back to the stage Birdemic 3 director, writer, James Nguyen, everybody. Yeah, what a treat. It's been 10 years since you've been on this stage.
Yes, 10 years, and it's great to hear you guys are great fans, great audience. It's probably the best screening, of all that's going to be done. Let's go and take care of it.
So we will very shortly turn it over to you guys for questions, but my immediate question is, 10 years since the sequel. Why so long? What were you doing during that time? Please, let us know.
Yes, well, the number one reason is I think it's more the idea, the script, the storyline. It took time, but second is the money. I mean, I really want the third one to be funded really $1 million production or more, even a Hollywood style 10, 20 million, and it didn't happen. And so I helped, so delay it long enough, and there comes a point where it don't matter, just do it. Just tell a story what you have. And so on the third one here, Birdemic 3, I did have some support. Seven Film, they advanced me. They distributed this film, exclusive distribute worldwide. but they advanced me some money, more than the first one, the pandemic one, to get the production rolling, and so and sometime, you know, it just you know, I think some of the greatest I don't say that's pandemic free, but sometimes I say that sometimes you have very little resources, and sometimes it's best that way, because you create your best work when you focus more on the art and less of the money, you know, and hopefully it came out with pandemic 3, you know, it's just
Yeah, I can't imagine this film turning out any other way than it did. If you had $1 million, what would this film have looked like?
I think the animation would have been better, more realistic. I mean, if you make a picture with a lot of CGI or add visual effect, it's low budget. You know, there's a limitation, and as you see in the picture, I mean, you can do the best you can in terms of the acting, and I got lucky with the casting. You know, I think they're, you know, and I think I lucky with the music and even the scenic, the scene, the location. You know, it didn't cost me a lot of money to do all that. But in terms of the visual effect, you really have, you know, just Avatar 2K just came. I think that's hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, even Jurassic Park, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, the whole thing cost millions of dollars. There's no way you can do that with a studio with shooting budget. So there's a limitation to it, you know. And so with $1 million, the bird, the seagull looked more real. You know, that's just automatic. I mean, I would probably spend $200,000 or $300,000 or hire a production house and make it think more realistic. And I couldn't afford that.
So it would be the same film, just the birds would look more real.
Yeah, more realistic. Yes.
It's not even worth it. You don't need $1 million.
Yeah.
Keep it as it is.
Yeah, you can improve everything out with very little money except for the visual effect, the animation. That just there's no way around, really. And I've been doing this over 20 years, really.
So a couple questions as a Birdemic fan. The great Alan Baugh returned.
Yes.
Great to see him. Funny with a beard. Awesome. Was his role reduced, or was it always envisioned as kind of a special guest role?
Well, it's a long story. Just it's a long story. You know, Alan's a good guy. You see, they just money issues, you know, and it forced me to. He wanted a lot of money, you know, for the sequel, and I just didn't have the money, you know, and so I was forced to create new character, okay, and so I said, well, I had to have Alan Baugh in to help the film because he's well known for first and the second, so I brought in, I made a deal with him, and it worked out, you know, halfway through the film. Yes, yeah, so you know, it worked out just fine, and you know, acting is a tough business, and Alan's been doing nearly over 12 years, and so the Alan Baugh before the first one, you know, and Alan Baugh today is a different person, and so, you know, it's a tough business, and he's still doing it. That's what I admire about. But he's, you know, it's when you're a struggling actor, it's tough, and it changed him in many ways, and so I had to make a deal with him, and it worked out. That's all matters at the end, you know. Yes.
It's such a shame, though, because, like, what is he known for besides Birdemic 1 and 2?
Yes.
And I guess it's common for actors to ask for a higher salary
Yeah,
as series go
yeah,
on.
yes.
How about Whitney, star of previous Birdemic?
Yeah, Whitney. I mean, I made a deal with her, and just like in the script and in the scene, you know, and she decided to go her own way. So that was it, you know. And but she did regret later on that she was in it because Birdemic 3 was selected at the Fantastic Fest Film Festival in September. Woo! Yeah. It's very prestigious. The whole film there, and it's one in the top 5. And she went on Twitter and mentioned that she regretted it. You know, so I did make it over almost practically. You know, Whitney, you got to be this. You know, just like that, and she signed up. Yeah.
Damian Carter came back. Hanging Out was the song. Hanging Out with the Family.
Yeah, the first
very serious song this time around.
Yeah. Well, Cosmic Beauty was commissioned. I commissioned that song. We written, customized, original song for this film. And
You commissioned him to do it?
No, it's a group student of Santa Cruz University. Okay, so they wrote the lyrics. I wrote some of it too, the title, the song, and some of the wording I gave them. So they wrote it, you know, and David Carter sang it, you know, and it worked out fine. And you know, did you like the song Cosmic Beauty? It's got some Latin beat to it. You know, it's inspired by a song, a famous dance song. I think I won't say it, you know, but it's, so you see some Latin beat to it, you know. Yes.
Did you know that Damian Carter performed live on this very stage?
Yeah, yeah.
Very impressive. He did both Birdemic songs, and then by request he covered Goodbye Horses for us. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's on YouTube.
Sure, yeah. And also, I want to say that I got lucky with the music in this third film. And did you like the opening song, Smile?
Yeah!
That song, right? And this is a song that's like a diamond, a great song that's been kind of like hidden in a haystack. And I posted an ad on the Craigslist. I need a music writer, musician, and this guy named Elon Herman. And he's a musician, he's a songwriter, and on his portfolio he's got this song that he produced. He didn't wrote the song, he just produced it. And his buddy friend is Chris Dale, who sang the second version of Smile, wrote it, but it was Jackie Benson who sang it, you know. She's big in Austin, Texas, you know. She sings like Adele, but with Jimi Hendrix with the guitar. If you go to YouTube right now and just Google her, as a good Smile, you'll see it. Yeah, you see, so she do with guitar, just like Jimi Hendrix. But she sings like Adele, you know. But this song, just right there. Well, who's this? What's this song? Who sings it? And so when I first listened, it's uplifting. You know, I just thought it's a great opening song, you know, for a movie like this. And I managed to license it, you know. And a song like this, it was Grammy winner or nominated, it would cost hundreds of thousands to license. So I got lucky in licensing it for very little money. And she sings the version, remember during the romance scene? You Make Me Feel, that's the song. That's another great song in her album. I said, wow, what a song. Maybe I'll get lucky again a second time, you know? And I licensed that too. So I got lucky with great music. I mean, this type of music is right up there with $100 million picture, you know, Hollywood. You name it, even, you know, Grammy nominated, but it's, for whatever reason, it's kind of like overlooked. And I got lucky, I managed to discover it, you know, and like that. And down to the last song, Global Village, I purposely let the credit play so you can listen to the song. It's by Chris Dale, and it was written in the 80s with his buddies, Elon, and it was forgotten. So Elon, so he's supposed to, he owes me some scene music, so he gave me a thing, but it didn't sound right. So he owed me a song. So he kept pushing me to try to make more money with this song, Global Rich. I said, well, why don't you give me that, license that, and that's it. We're done. You know, and so that's how the whole thing with the music, you know.
Let's see, that's another advantage of having a low budget, because if you had $1 million, you could just license songs that everybody knows.
Yes.
But with a low budget, you're actually posting on Craigslist, and you're
Yes.
seeking out things that people aren't aware of,
Yes.
and you're utilizing them.
Oh, yes,
It's
I mean,
a
it's-
wonderful thing.
Yeah, I mean, saying like Smile. I mean, it could be in a 200-minute picture of James Bond. You know, I mean, remember the last year with that singer, what's her name, Billie Eilish. Well, yeah, she won the Academy for Best Literature. I mean, you listen to that and you listen to this. What's the difference? You know, I mean, this is a better song, really.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just at the end of the day, you know, it's just sometimes the money will interfere with the art. You know, I mean, look at Vincent van Gogh. I personally paint the painting opening. It is by an artist in San Francisco named Wright Martin. But he has his style, but I personally asked him to paint in the style of Van Gogh. You know, and Van Gogh was a starving artist all his life. He only made money with one painting. That's it. And after that, you know, so and all the great he did, Starry Night and all that, and he was starving, and he his greatest work. And sometimes great work done, on an empty stomach, like a scene in Sunset Boulevard. Remember at the opening Sunset Boulevard? He got his car repossessed. Not repossessed, but the repo man was coming after him. So he drove down up to his agent in Hollywood, say, well, can you let me borrow $300 because I'm out of money? And you know what his agent told him? Well, sometimes some of the best writing is done on the empty stomach, so I mean, I always, that scene on Sunset Boulevard, it always kind of like, epitomize kind of like the hungry artist, and.
Was that the artist playing himself in this?
Yes, that's him, yes.
See, another aspect of having a lower budget.
Yeah, yes.
Actors who you're utilizing for
Yes, yeah, and I just, just kind of let them be themselves, and I did a little coaching, and I think he did a fine job.
Any questions from the audience, please? In the back.
All right. I know it's quite hard choosing between children, but if there was a cut of Birdemic that you either had to choose Cosmic Beauty or Smile, or are both those songs too perfect to just not give them one?
I think Smile, I mean, Cosmic Beauty, I think is original song, but I think there's something with that song Smile, I must have listening to 1,000 times. It just hits you, just, the opening of the movie, the opening's, the credit, and by the time, he walks and talks, and it uplifts you, in life, if you smile, laugh more, you're gonna live longer. It's always humpy, dumpy, or being depressed, you're gonna die, really, just, just smile, I mean, it's just, it's the like thing, and so in this film, you see, I try to present the two sides. There is Mr. Green, and you probably know, I'm kind of like a fictional version of that guy who's the current richest man in the world. You know what I'm talking about. Well, really, I can't say it, but Mr. Green, I'm a fan of Mr. Green. I'm not a doomsday guy, but I'm not a fan of Dr. Extinction. But like I said in my own intro, I said that the main reason I made this film, despite, the thing is that there is a crisis of global warming. And even the Birdemic 1, 12 years ago, was the first film ever to raise the alarm of climate change. That's why part of the way it became a hit. It was only 2-3 years after An Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore. He won an Oscar for that.
You came before or after?
After, yeah. So it was inspired. Birdemic is the first one, and really, and overall, it was inspired by Hitchcock, The Bird, and Al Gore, and An Inconvenient Truth. So.
I have a good question. Where, for those of us who are interested in reading more, where do we go to read about all of these climate change facts? Where do you get your information from?
YouTube, just that climate change, and it's all there. There's a lot of other filmmakers, they make a lot of good docs, okay?
So a lot of weird stuff on YouTube, though. How do we know exactly what to look at?
Well, there's, Dr. Extinction,
we should look up Dr. Extinction.
Well, I should say, no, it doesn't exist. I believe I can't say it, but I did thank him at the ending credit. I'll just say this, okay? Guy McPherson, okay? He's a PhD professor emeritus at University of Arizona, and abrupt mass extinction. He's the person who really raised the alarm. It directed his career. Come on, you don't want to hear the world, the public. You don't want to hear doomsday, extinction, the end of the world. People don't want to hear that, okay? And what I'm saying here is that I'm not a doomsday. I'm not the extinction. I'm a fan of Mr. Green. I say that this thing can be fixed. I mean, the COP27 right now, the United States Climate Change Conference, just ended at COP27. They have it every year, and right now what they have is the mitigation, the renewable energy, the green solar panel, and that's great. And like I said, they go to zero emission, reduced emission, and you have adaptation, the use less water, buy less clothes, reduce your footprint, adaptation, that's great. And this year they added reparation. All the poor country, the most harmed by climate change because the CO2 emission by the rich country. So they add a few $1 billion to help the poor country, the islands country. And that's great. But on the agenda right now, there's no climate fix. They get to add that on the COP28 next year in Saudi Arabia. I mean, climate fix, meaning that Mr. Green was referring to that, right now, up there right now in the atmosphere since the Industrial Revolution 150 years ago, 1850, there's over 2 trillion plus CO2, 2 trillion ton of CO2 up there, plus, and we're increasing it 50 billion ton per year, and it's heating the planet exponentially. And so you turn on your TV now, especially in California, it's endless wildfire, extreme weather. It's worldwide now. In England, first time ever. France, Germany, it's China, the most drought ever. The river of the world drying up. And this is caused by that 2 trillion ton up there, okay? And so how do we fix it, So in Birdemic 3, it's based on real technology, but it's fictional, and it's suck it up there and send it into space,
right?
okay? But right now, as we speak, there's a startup called Climate Work, and many others, where carbon removal technology. It suck the CO2 out of air and remove it and sequester it underground. And so it costs right now them, it's very expensive, just like a big, remember the cellular phone in the 80s, it's a few $1,000s, So it's like $200 or $300 per ton right now to remove a ton of CO2. So imagine, if the United States, the European Union, China, and Asia, we combine together with the help, in partner with the United Nations, create a $1 trillion fund, the Climate Fix Fund, $1 trillion annually, and we just contract all these startups at $10 per ton. Remove the CO2 and sequester underground, or send it up to space in the Birdemic 3. And every year we have to remove 200 billion ton. In the next 10 years, that's 2 trillion ton. It's fixed, and it can be done, and we're not doing that. And so the climate fix agenda has to be there at COP28. That's what I'm trying to do with a nonprofit I'm trying to do right now, is to lobby to get that agenda, climate fix on the COP28, because the reparation agenda, it took 20 years before it was on agenda this year. But we don't have 20 years. Just do the math. We're at 420 parts per million right now. That's the level, the measurement, the metric, the climates are used to measure the number of CO2 up in the atmosphere. And pre-industrial revolution, the normal weather, the Garden of Eden that we used to, it's at 300 or less. Then industrial revolution, from 100 to now, we're at 420. Okay, we're increasing at 2 ppm per year, 2 times 10, that's 24, by 450 beyond its extinction. And right now, and that's just conservative, because you add the methane gas and other gas. At present, we're at 500 ppm already. It's just that it's not official. It's just the CO2 only. So, I don't have to convince you. You just lived it. The last 12 years, you just see in the news. It's everywhere. You feel the heat this summer. Weather's unbelievable. The sky turned orange. The scene with the orange sky, the painting and everything. I was shocked. I was just standing in front of my house for 2 days. The whole sky was orange. All the wildfire, from the Santa Cruz Mountain. You see all the trees that Evan described. It was in flame. Part of it, and it just for 2 days was just orange. It's just like planet Mars. So
it's really great to hear that you have all of this knowledge and that you work it into your film, and you're legitimately passionate about the future of the planet Earth. When I picked you up from the airport last night, I think one of the first things you told me was we have 10 years to live. That's a really scary
10, 20 years, yes.
It's like, good to see you. But no, it's like a really scary thought.
But I'm trying, I'm not a doomsday guy. I'm not a fan of Dr. Extinction, okay? I'm not a fan of things, I'm just saying that we can fix it, because I'm from Silicon Valley. I used to be an engineer in computer science. I'm from Silicon, I'm a fan of Elon Musk. What I'm saying is more of the technology. The technology, we got to fix it, and we can do it. It's just that it takes the collaboration of the whole planet. Trillions of dollars to do this, and we have the technology. Remember the cellular phone in the 80s? Like, even though, it cost us like $3,000 or $4,000. Now it's like $50. You have a cellular phone. So there's $200 or $300 per ton to remove it. There's competition, maybe 100 startup carbon removal. They're gonna bring it down to $10 per ton. And if $1 trillion of fund managed by the United Nations, just pay them. You're gonna remove it $10 per ton, and we gotta remove 200 billion ton per year. 2 times 10, that's 2 trillion, or even half of that, just a trillion ton. The problem is fixed, really. And I'm just trying to be good.
Yeah, it's great to hear that you're so conscious of all of this.
Oh yes, it can be done. It's just that whatever the reason, I think it's psychological bias that how can we, the humans, we create all this? You know, we send man to the moon. You know, we create all these great things. Why, how can we be the bad guy and the bird are the good guys? You know, so you know, I think it's just denial. You know, and whatever at the COP every year they go there and they set goal and nothing happens and the planet just gonna heat up. And the problem is that it's just mitigation, adaptation, and this year reparation. There's no climate fix. You never see on the agenda climate fix it. You know, every year just setting new goals, everybody partying, have meetings and talk, and everybody feel good, laugh, and have a party, go home. You know, but nothing is fixed. You know, so we gotta fix this, and we gotta remove it up there. You know, it can be done. It's just that it takes people in power, policymaker, to make it happen. You know, and maybe I'm an evangelist. I'm trying to send that message, and we have to do it. Or I'm just have to say, we don't do it, we're heading toward extinction. That's just a reality. Just do the math, you know, and just do Google. Just go Google and type, what is the ppm now? You know, I'll tell you. It's all you right now. 420 ppm. It's all you.
You know, despite that very heavy message, I think there's a great deal of joy in all three of your birdemic films,
Yes.
regardless. And I think that's what all. Any other questions, please? Feel free. Please.
Yeah.
Sarah, you said that if you had $1 million, the animation would have been better compared to the formula.
Yes.
I'm curious if, because of lack of funding, were there any scenes that you wanted to include or any sequences that you would have really wanted to have in the movie that you had to cut, or did you got everything in there that you wanted?
Yeah, you know, if you had $1 million, you could buy in production insurance. So remember the scene where they're at the fountain, the trees, the people were gliding for the trees. Well, originally in the script, I wanted them to basically do the gliding, but it was just too dangerous, you know. What if they fall? They goes to the picture. What if there's something happened to the wiring? Whatever. They fall and they die, they goes to production, you know. So I thought, you know, I had to buy a ticket, everything, you know, for them to go on and do all that. And I couldn't sleep over it, you know, nearly a week, 2 weeks before, you know. I said, that's it, no, I'm gonna cancel it. I can't risk the whole production, you know. So they're gonna be walking. It was not supposed to be rain that day. It's supposed to be clear, you know, but it rained. So we had to, and especially in low budget, you have to basically adapt, move fast. So, you know, we adapt and we shot the scene like that. You know, so I adjusted the script to it, and so there were people. I thought they were a little nuts. The rain like that, and there were people gliding, you know, in the tree like that. So we just shot it like that, and it worked out. And you know, fine. You know, it just you know, for filmmakers out there, it's just when you're low budget. Whatever written in the script and real live reality, you better learn how to adapt quick, or you in order to finish the movie, or you don't have a picture.
That is a great question, though. When you're writing the script, do you write with a budget in mind, or do you just write what you feel it should be, and then you deal with it later?
I wrote what's in mind, but the thing here is that this movie, I had a general picture. I want the film to be in Santa Cruz, but the script, the scenes part of it was written really, you know, week to week on the fly, you know, just like Apocalypse Now, you know, with Francis Coppola. It was written on the fly, weeks to week. Yeah, I made it up as we go.
As you were shooting,
Yeah, so I made it up. I had to, you know.
It doesn't show.
And yeah, and I did a lot of scout location, and because I've been doing this for 20 years. I learned how to adapt and move quick.
It's interesting because everything does really feel intentional,
Yeah.
as if you did plan it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And even in things that reflect back to the first Birdemic, it feels
Yes.
like everything is intentional.
Yes, and I'm very happy and feel very honored at the Academy of Motion Picture Science. You know, the people that managed the Oscar, that they sent me a letter, an email requesting a copy of the script. Woo! It's on Facebook now, you know. So I had it done already. So it's on Facebook. They're posting a copy of it. I did send to the they call it the permanent core collection of all the script, even the Academy winner or non-winner nomination. You know, so Birdemic, it is has been qualified for the 95th Academy Award. You know,
It's in the running for the
The
next
running, yeah.
Oscars.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Yeah, thank you. So you know, it's like that. The thing here is that how many of you here have seen Vertigo? Woo! So how many of you thought that the tower exists? You know, most of you, right? Yeah. You know, and you know, the tour guide there, I asked him, you know, the tourists that show up there, how many of them thought that the tower was real? And they say half of them thought it was real. You know, it was there. You know, they always ask, well, where's the tower? And half of them say, oh, where's the tower? I say, oh, it's not there.
So I live about 40 miles south of San Juan Bautista, okay? I live in my production office in Hollywood, but I'm the resident in both places in San Jose. So San Juan Bautista is about 40 miles south of San Jose. And so I just had to put it in because I would visit San Juan Bautista a lot of times because my favorite film, Hitchcock film, is Vertigo. My favorite film of all is Vertigo. And as you know, that in the film, it was recently voted the greatest film of all time over Citizen Kane. That's just, this is the film that in 1950, when it was released, it bombed at box office. It was a total failure, you know, in terms of box office. And Mr. Hitchcock, he basically hid it. It was forgotten into the 80s with the TV, the afternoon TV. The first time I saw Vertigo was an afternoon TV movie when I was in high school. I just loved it. And as the year passed, it just got an audience virally. And I understand why it was voted, you know, by the industry, the film critics, you know, as the greatest film of all time is because it simply is a great love story. A great lost love story. You know, it's right up there with Romeo and Juliet, Antony and Cleopatra, and even with some of my favorites as Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and James Seymour. You know, and I think that's why it became, you know, it evolved and to the greatest film of all time.
Do we have more questions? Please, over there.
Yes, yes.
I was really curious about the location scouting. Specifically, there's that like very British pub, and then also
Yes.
the decision to like have the first date be on a boardwalk at like kind of like a picnic table outdoor restaurant. And I was
Yes.
just curious how you chose where to shoot.
Yes, good question.
So the
well,
bus at the pub was a reference to the first
Yeah,
film,
the first
right?
film. Yeah, the first film. That's what the scene about. Yeah, if you watch the Pandemic first, there's the bus, the attack scene. Okay, and it's very iconic now because Cameron Palmer, he will tell me every week is somebody from not just the United States but from worldwide will stop by this pub there in Appalachia. And it's this is the bus in the Pandemic one. I'll take a picture of it. You know, it's very iconic. And in terms of location scouting, I'm low budget, so I can't even afford a location scout. So because I live in that area, I know the location, I know the area, and some of it I don't know, but I can look. On a weekday, I'll just drive, and I have an eye, you know, for a scene. I just would this scene work? Like I'll give you an example, the biker, the gangster biker scene. Okay, so I was scouting for that. I need to add more scene, you know. And originally, it's supposed to be the lead cast riding Harley, you know. I think it was a cool thing. So I visit Hollister. It's right near San Juan Bautista. And Hollister, just any movie buff here, okay? You know, the Hollister was inspired by a very old film. It's got Marlon Brando in it, black and white. It was made in late 1940 something, or you know, that thing. It's got Marlon Brando on a bike.
One-Eyed Jacks?
Huh?
The Wild One?
Yeah, yo, this guy's a movie buff.
Yeah.
The Wild One. Okay, yeah, the Wild One. Okay, that was the movie that started the whole bike scene in America. The Harley Davidson and all that, okay? And I say, well, maybe, you know, the lead character can be on a Harley, be a cool thing to show, you know. But after a while, it didn't work out. I just say, well, and there's a barber they call Johnny. Johnny's the lead character in the Wild One. And I was drinking, and I see all these guys that showing up with a bike, you know, and all these, you know. I said, well, maybe we'll do a scene where the bird attacked the biker, man, you know, with the gangster thing. So I put it in, you know, and so that's a scene like that. And I have an eye. I just like beautiful. That's my style. I like beautiful location. You know, it's just a beautiful location. The Santa Cruz Beach Walk is beautiful, and the mountain and the scene there. I have an eye for location beauty because the location itself is a character in the film. You know, that's just my style, and it worked out.
Do we have any more questions?
Very good.
Yeah, I just wondered, do you have any future scripts or projects that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I have good news. You know, Birdemic 4, Garden of Eden. And I'm probably curious why it's called Garden of Eden. It's basically to fix the global warming. And what the Garden of Eden is what I just told you about climate change. You know, basically removing it. So that's what Birdemic 4 is about. Is actually removing, showing, tell the story how we're going to fix it. You know, in the Garden of Eden. You know that when Evan's watching the little short climate change, the open and the film, the short was mentioning the Holocene has ended. The Garden of Eden is no more, and it's such a beautiful, Garden of Eden. It is. I mean, we don't have the same weather. The trees are getting drier. Some of the trees I remember over telling you it's much greener and everything. Now it's drying up. You see the drone shot. It's drying. Then you see the tree. It's beautiful, but it's dry. It's less green. And those trees can go in flame like matchstick. Because we have a drought in California right now. It's just sad.
So Garden of Eden, this is a film that'll bring hope.
Yeah, hope. There's hope right here. For the young, I know half of most people, the young here, you have a future. And if you are related to people in policy maker, whatever, tell them, that we gotta put in climate fix on the COP27 agenda, 28 agenda, and the fix. So let's start talking about fix, even though the technology, it's here, yet it's too expensive. It's $300 or $400 per ton to remove it right now. Just do Google climate work. It's two Swedish guy. It's in Sweden, and you just see Bill Gates put some money in it, and a bunch of other. And right now, it's in Silicon Valley, we call it a proof of concept. What they have, even though they got $1 billion funding, and basically they remove the max they can move. And all they got right now is like 4,000 ton per year. We're talking about billions that need to be removed. We're talking about 4,000 ton right now, and so it's a proof of concept. And what if, just like a soy phone, it's $3,000 or $4,000 in the 80s, now it's $50. And we can bring it down to $10 with competition, other stuff, better technology, fast. We had the COVID. Oh, we don't live through COVID. It took 1 year, boom, we got a vaccine. Why couldn't we put our energy, our effort to basically, have the technology and just pay them? That $1 trillion, it's not investing thing. We pay them under contract for $10 per ton. And sequester underground or send up in space. And the space elevator, Grab, it's a real technology, and political reason, business countrywide, they don't allow it to happen yet, but we have it already. It's real, yeah. The graphene, it's strong enough now. Nanotechnology, and it costs $10 billion to build something like that. What you seen in the film, but politics, money, and power, because SpaceX and other aerospace, they don't allow it because it will basically disrupt their business. You're talking about it's like a few $100 per kilogram right now to send anything up in space now. You go from that to maybe barely pennies. You see, just 60 miles up. We can do this, and it just when we have a tube like that, it just sucks it out and sand. And at the same time, we can just travel up to space. And if say everything goes belly up, it's just like Mr. Green, the whole plane goes. We can send the whole human race up there and do. If it's no longer habitable, planet Earth is lots of diversity, lots of habitat, lot of the ability to grow food, lots of habitat.
This is getting a bit dark, James.
Sure.
Let's listen.
Sorry.
If you want to talk about any of this with James, he's going to hang
Sorry,
out for photos. He'll autograph anything.
Sure.
He'll gladly chat to you about anything. Just to wrap this up, we have a birdemic Garden of Eden. Do you have a year attached to it?
Yeah, 2025.
Woo! Is there the potential to keep this franchise going beyond that?
Yes, my plan is to rolling into the climate, global warming is fixed. So it could be Birdemic X, just like the Fast Furious franchise.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
So remember that there's a very serious message behind these films, but they are joyous, fun films.
Yes.
To be enjoyed by an audience.
Yes.
I thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. We will gladly show Garden of Eden in 2025.
Yes.
Please come back. James Nguyen, everybody.
And happy holidays, happy Birdemic.